So cute.
Yeah.
But is it?
It is. It's going to be an argument for me.
Welcome to Screams and Streams, the podcast that looks at the best and worst horror movies as rated on Rotten Tomatoes from 1970 onwards. I'm your host, Sam, and with me are my co-hosts,
Chad
and
Mike.
Be sure to check us out on Instagram. Our handle is @ScreamStreamPod. Also, check out our website at screamsandstreams.com for more information about all the films we're looking at. Just a warning, if you don't like spoilers, we recommend that you stop listening now, check out the film, and rejoin us for our discussion. Today we're looking at a scare from my childhood, Steven Spielberg's 1982 film, E.T. It scored 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Of course it did.
So
what was that 1%?
The people who are terrified watching it are like, nah, this is not for me. All right, Chad, for those who haven't seen this movie before, can you give us that summary?
Sure. A troubled child summons the courage to help a friendly alien escape from the Earth and return to his home planet.
Is he troubled? He only got in trouble when E.T. got there.
I'd say he's bullied by his brother, but kids were always bullied by their brothers.
His dad just left.
I think that's what
recently.
I think that's what they're talking about. Is like their parents are split up.
Yeah.
Like he's not a problem child.
Yeah,
he's just. In fact, in the beginning, they just show him just wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. So I don't know, but that's what it says. Troubled child. The other ones are quite long.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is the gist of it. Mm-hmm. Other than the troubled child comment, I think it's fairly accurate. But
yeah, mine it starts out really funny. I had one just in case, and it said, "After a gentle alien becomes."
Oh yeah,
so
that's
they really
the next
are saying
one down.
it's gentle.
Yeah, gentle. It's
he
not...
might be scary children, but he's gentle.
He's sweet.
That's right.
Sweet E.T.
A little alien.
I don't know. All right, so moving on to our sinister sip, Mike. What are we drinking? This is quite fancy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Reese's Pieces Martini.
Ooh.
From Recipe Wonderland.
Nice. All right.
It's delicious.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Oh,
that's boozy.
That's got a kick.
It's delicious, though.
Yeah.
I really like that crunched up Reese's Pieces, so that's amazing.
I like it.
It's 2 ounce peanut butter whiskey, an ounce of chocolate liqueur, an ounce of Irish cream, an ounce of milk, shaken and garnished with drizzled chocolate syrup and Reese's Pieces.
It's lovely.
I'm a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen the peanut butter whiskey, and I've always wanted to kind of try it, and now I get to.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, screwball. It's delicious.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
All right, now we're going to move into our first impressions, and I thought I'd kick us off just because I wanted to explain why this movie scared me so much.
Why this family
science
comedy
fiction.
Yeah.
We thought during this time, in between our decades, that we'd go into movies that terrified us. And we had a couple, I think all of us, but they were already ones that we're doing at some point. But E.T. for me genuinely scared me as a child. I don't know if I watched it too young. There were so many things about E.T. that was creepy. And I don't like the dark, those types of things. But I had this recurring nightmare of looking down my basement steps and his head would pop out from the, how his neck extends. It would come out from like the ceiling, from the sides, and I have to dodge it, trying to get out of the basement.
It's like an Atari video game.
Yeah.
It's so scary. So I the whole thing was really creepy. I had nightmares as a child about him frequently. Wow. So yeah, I've seen the movie a bunch of times, and now, of course, looking back, I like cried at the end this time because I'm a big sob.
Goodbye.
I know. Oh no, be good. I'm like bawling.
Always be here.
Be right here. My husband came upstairs and he was like, "What the fuck are you crying at? It's E.T." And I was like, "It's so sad and wholesome." but there are still really creepy things, and I'll stand by it. It was really scary when I saw it as a kid. So yeah, I liked it more. Obviously, as an adult, it wasn't as scary. But yeah, Chad, what about you?
Well, I didn't get it at the beginning that this would scare you. So when I was watching it, I was still like, this is so sweet. I don't get it. But then my daughter came down and she started watching it with me. And she kind of justified your take on it, Sam. She's just, look at his fingers. Like they're like spiders. And at one point he's crawling them across the table.
Yeah.
She said, that looks creepy. And then when Drew Barrymore's character bends down and says, I don't like his feet. My daughter was like, yes, his feet are gross. this thing, I can see this being creepy. So then when she was explaining, I was like, yeah, okay, I can get it. Some of the sounds he makes are a little off-putting.
The squelching.
Yeah, the end, which I'll talk about a little later, where he's getting sick is kind of creepy. So there are moments that I definitely could see how if you watch this, especially at a very young age, that you would be a little put off by it. So actually, I think we tried to watch it with my kids when they were younger, and we thought, oh, E.T.'s so fun. And at the beginning, when he's running through the woods and kind of screaming while he's being chased, they were like, nope.
Immediately no.
They shut it down. So we had to wait a while before we watched it again. So Sam, you're right.
Yes.
I'm sorry I poo-pooed your idea of E.T. being creepy, but I think if you watch it at the wrong age, it could mess you up a little bit.
Thank you for that. Because I know when it's going to pop up on a Saturday for our listeners, they're going to be like, fucking E.T.
I know.
Like, really?
Like, a horror movie? What? Yeah.
It's so scary. Mike, what about you?
So before I give my first impressions, I want to do the first mascot for an episode for Sam. I had this in my
No,
garage.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's my childhood E.T. toy.
Oh, I hate it. Oh.
He's got the long arms and does his neck extend?
It used to, so it's a wind-up toy, and he like walks forward, and his head is supposed to go up and down.
Stop.
That's awesome.
Ew. I hate it. It's staring at me. Oh, look at his back wrinkles. Oh.
Does he still wind up?
He does wind up, and he walks on like a smooth surface.
Let me see.
You can. I'll let you do the honors.
You think he'll walk on this cover?
Maybe.
Yeah, immediately.
There
No,
he goes.
the creepy
There he
arm.
goes.
It's
The arm.
murdery.
Well, you can move the arm down if you don't want him like coming towards like Frankenstein.
But I don't.
Sam.
Oh no.
Nice. That's awesome.
So yeah,
Nice.
the instant you said E.T., I was like, oh my God, I have a box of toys in my garage that I still haven't gone through to sell or give away. And I
Nice.
went hunting for it just for today.
Thanks
Nice.
for that.
Yeah. Now I'll give my first impression of the film. I love this movie. The first time I watched it was in the theater, not when I was, what year was this? For 82?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So not when I was 4 years old, but this was one of those movies that back in the 80s, I think went back in the theater multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So I do remember seeing this, and I didn't watch it again until probably 2002. Sitting down to watch it, like for this, I was immediately transported back to the theater and the magic of this, the wonder. I remember being just so amazed at the otherworldliness. I think it was probably like the first sci-fi movie I saw. So when the spaceship's at the beginning and E.T.'s out and there's the John Williams score, I was just like right away, I'm like, this is great. I love it. I think E.T.'s amazing. Like I understand why it would creep kids out, but I just got the magic was back. And so watching it again, like, I too got emotional and like caught up in the story. It might be the Long Island iced tea or two that I had before watching it. But I loved it. Beginning to end, enjoyed it. The one thing that I could see is for me, and I remember kind of as a childhood, is when the scientists come into the house and they're wearing the spacesuits. I remember thinking that was frightening.
Yeah.
Why are they in the NASA suits though?
That's in my hide in the shadow. But it's fine.
We'll
But
talk about it later. But
They don't want to be contaminated, I guess. I have no idea.
But they're in astronaut suits. Everyone else is in like
hazmat suits.
Yeah.
They're in the regular suits, but
Right.
They're in their full. And that was one of the things my daughter said too. She's like, "Why are they wearing moon suits? Like what?"
Yeah.
And it's very Darth Vader-esque. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's supposed to be creepy. Like it's supposed to freak out a kid, right? So yeah.
Well, and they're coming through like the blinds and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah,
they're
that
not
was weird. Every window was open too. What the fuck?
every single. That's a trope. I'm telling you.
I know we're gonna have to look at the windows a little more often.
They're
These horror
always
movies, it's
open.
like close the damn window.
Lock it up. It's not safe.
Yeah, but I'll just stop there because loved it to pieces. Loved watching it again. Don't know why I waited so long to see it a third time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for those guys. Now we're going to head into our Tropes Hall of Shame. I had quite a few here. So I'm going to kick us off. My first one is The Mist. The fog. It's
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere all the time. It's even in their house. Like their house was smoky and no one was smoking when they're having...
Oh, when they're doing the Dungeons and Dragons at the beginning?
Yeah, it's like, I was like, what is happening? No one's smoking here. It's children. And
I thought they were smoking too.
Yeah, but there's nothing there to indicate that. So that was my first one. And then the dog sensing stuff. So the dog was kind of curious, but like a terrible guard dog. Like thinking about it, like he just like goes up, his tail's wagging. He's like, oh, what's this little guy and this little friend? So those are my first two. Chad, what did you have?
I had They Never Believe the Kid.
Yeah.
So he comes in and starts screaming that there's something in the shed, and they do go out and investigate, but then it's okay, whatever, and they just don't believe him.
Yeah.
And this kid is like adamant that something is happening, and they're just fluffing it off. And the mom is the worst. Like she doesn't believe him forever until she finally sees him. So there was that one, and then my other one was Love Conquers All.
Yep.
Because that I love you, and then that kind of brings it was very Sleeping Beauty. Like he says I love you, E.T., and then all of a sudden E.T. comes back to life. His heart glows and everything happens.
Heart grew 3 sizes bigger that day.
That's right. And that was super cute. That got me. Like it's pretty funny because he's trying to talk and Elliott, and he's zipping him up. He's like, be quiet.
Shut the fuck up. And then I wondered how long he was zippered in that bag for. Like,
well, and in that cryogenic thing, like they sealed it back up, and those guys came and they looked at the pressure. I was like, man, they're freezing him. Like, what's going to happen here? But we just overlooked that.
We glazed over that.
But anyways, those were my two.
Thanks for those. Mike, what did you have?
I had that the film opens with a pan from the stars down to Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Just every alien movie has to do that, apparently.
Alien shit.
Yeah, maybe this is why you hate aliens.
Yeah.
It could possibly be. Yep.
My other one is just driving in a van and spying on people towards the end when they're listening to all the phone calls.
Yeah, I was like, that's very crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my daughter asked, she's like, what are they doing? And I said, well, they've obviously bugged the area and they're listening to people's conversations as they drive through the town. She's like, can they do that?
After September 11th, yes.
I was like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Sure can. My next two were the swinging by itself.
Right,
so it's just the one too. It's not even like a wind or anything like that. Another trope was the disengaged or sidetracked parent. So I know she's got a lot going on. I'm not blaming her. I'm not shaming her. But she's like, she's very focused on, taking care of her kids, and she's a single mom now. So those are my next two. Yeah. And my last one here, it was the skidding cops. When they all pull up and they're like drifting up to the location. I was like, come on. So that was my last one.
I did have one more.
Yeah. Cool.
It was the single mom able to afford an Audi.
Oh, that house.
A large house.
Really nice house.
A really nice house, and able to keep that going. I don't know what she does for a job or what she's getting for, child support or kind of payments, but that just seemed pretty wild that she was able to keep that all together.
Yeah, I agree. All right, now we're going to move into our one-liners. Mike, what one-liners do you have?
My first one is when they're around the table, right at the beginning when Elliott's trying to say what it is. And I think it's the brother Mike says it's like, maybe it was a pervert or a deformed kid.
But my favorite part, so I had that one too, but my favorite part is Gertie being like a deformed kid, echoing what it was. And it's like, maybe it was alligators in the sewers. And she goes, alligators in the sewers.
Yeah.
I thought she was so cute.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore was amazing.
She was awesome.
So good.
Yeah. And then after Mike says like all the different things in Elliott, it was nothing like that penis breath.
Yes, I had that one too. Yeah.
And then the mom laughing, which I have some stuff about research on.
She's like, Elliott.
Elliott.
Yes, and I love the laugh because there's so many times as a teacher where a kid says something that's like completely inappropriate, but I'm like biting back the laugh.
Oh yeah, you're like, hey, no, now. We don't need to say stuff like that.
But also well done.
Yeah.
All right, Chad, what did you have?
I had when they're dressing up for Halloween, you're not going as a terrorist, but Mom, all the guys are. That one was super funny. And then that's actually a back it up because I was like, did they actually say that? And I backed it up and I was like, yep, there it is. Yep.
And I thought like when he came walking in costume, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what this terrorist costume looks like. But he'd already changed what he was dressed up as. I was just like,
I would have loved to have seen it was like,
How inappropriately 80s it would
it
have been.
was, yeah, exactly. My other one was Drew Barrymore's line when they're feeding him. Is he a pig? He sure eats like one.
I had that one. That was
I
great.
love that one.
And right before he goes, a bald monkey? No.
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
Yeah, she had so many good lines, and just even the ones where she was like, "Where are you going? We're going to the spaceship. The spaceship!" It's like yelling at the guy you're not supposed to tell.
So cute.
It was awesome.
Thanks for those, Chad. So I had another line by Drew Barrymore, and it's when E.T.'s at home and the mom has to go pick Elliott up from school, but he's learning how to speak and he's behind the TV.
Oh, yeah.
And those type of stuff. And Gertie goes, "Here he is." And then the mom goes, "Here's who?" And she goes, "The man from the moon. But I think you've killed him already."
Oh, yeah, when she hits him with
the fridge and he's just straight back.
The blocking of that scene was amazing.
Yeah.
Where it's like just out of eye line every time he's walking around.
he's just always
Just walks
there.
behind her as she's in the fridge.
Squelching along.
Really,
Adorably walking behind.
really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first one. And then my next one was Elliot's explaining to his friend, well, he's a man from outer space and we're taking him to a spaceship. And Greg goes, can't he just beam up? And then Elliot goes, this is reality, Greg.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Come on, you can't just beam up.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what else did you have?
Another line that it just hit because it was like I was emotionally invested by this point, but the boy's coming back. We're losing E.T. I was just like, oh, like I remember as a kid being so upset at that moment, watching the life sign change. So I was just like, oh yeah, that line's hard. And then I did love when they're getting ready to go in the scientist's van. It's like, go, go, go. It's like, I've never driven forward before.
Yeah, that was good.
One of my last ones here is just an exchange between Michael and Elliot. In rewatching, I really appreciated the brotherhood between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. Like it starts out with banter and stuff like that, but they really trust each other and all that kind of stuff. But this is when they left him alone when Elliot went back to school. And then so Michael goes, did you explain school to him? And Elliot goes, how do you explain school to a higher intelligence? And Michael goes, maybe he's not that smart. Maybe he's just a worker bee and only knows how to push buttons or something. Yeah. Elliot's like, he is too smart. And then he goes, okay, well, I hope we don't wake up on Mars surrounded by millions of little squashy guys. So I thought it was just a funny little exchange.
Yeah, their relationship was really good.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Well, even just the do you promise? Do you swear?
Yeah. Ultimate promise.
Ultimate promise, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute. Mike, did you have any others?
I have one more interaction. It's between Elliot and Mike as well. And it's when they're driving at the end. It's like Mike goes, where's the playground? And Elliott's like, it's near the preschool. Where's that? And Elliott's response is amazing. I don't know streets. Mom always drives.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, really good.
All right, now we're going to move into what doesn't hold up. I'm going to start us out because I have quite a few more than you guys. Dissecting live frogs. And watching them die
I
first.
didn't even think about that. Yeah.
When we're in high school or typically they get them, they're already
dead.
Yeah. They're packed in formaldehyde already. Yeah.
Yes. So then I was like, so the fact that it's alive, first of all, the fact that these kids are maybe 13?
Yeah.
How old do we think Elliot is?
13, maybe at the most. Because I'd say
most,
Mike is 14, 15.
Yeah, because he's driving and he's also plays football. So I'm assuming he's high school-ish. And then Elliot's, I would say grade 7.
Yeah. So he's he's killing and then dissecting a frog.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
And actually, Emily, my daughter, looked over and was like, do they still do that? That is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, well, I don't think they put the cotton balls in there anymore. But
no.
But I said, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm not a science teacher.
Well, then the teacher's like, look to see the heart's still beating. It's like, Jesus, they're going to cut it open. Alive.
While it's alive, and they'll be asleep. It's okay. They won't feel any pain. It's like, but you're murdering this thing.
Yeah. And then I also on that note was like, can you just bare hand chloroform like that? Can you just, the teacher's reaching into the bucket of the cotton balls and just dropping them all in.
Oh, didn't he have forceps or was he just barehanding it?
I thought he was barehanding it.
He was barehanding
it. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, put the top on the jar as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And he was just throwing these cotton balls.
Right in front of the kids' mouths and faces, too. They're pushed up against the jar.
Probably got a good little buzz by the end of the thing. He's like, I know if I touch these just the right amount, I'm going to get a good buzz.
I put my fingers up to my nose and smell them like this.
My second one was putting candles in pumpkins. Nowadays, you don't do that because of fires.
Oh, yes, that's
use
right,
The
yeah.
fake ones.
We don't?
Okay, some of us do.
I still, just a little tea, like I put tea lights in my.
Do you?
Yeah,
Oh.
like 2 or 3 tea lights so it's nice and bright.
Oh, I do like the fake ones.
I use the fake ones. We used to do the real ones. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to, and then.
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't know we weren't supposed to.
It's not that you're not supposed to. It's just a
don't see
safety
it.
thing. It's just like if you're worried that it could cause. But the tea lights won't be.
No,
they
the tea
used
lights,
to
no.
put like a full candle in there.
Yeah.
Oh, like a pillar candle?
Yeah.
In the film too, that it's like the whole porch is just melted candles, so they've been
Yeah.
on all day, and then there's
Oh,
the
okay.
huge pumpkin with the candle inside. So the tea lights are fine, I think, Mike. You're
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, you're good.
You're not canceled. Chad, what didn't hold up for you?
Although a lot of the special effects were still good, I had some of them are quite dated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the bike ride at the end
Yeah.
is very, very bad.
I had that was
And-
all where there's no handlebars.
Yes.
I have that
And they're
too.
all crooked and weird flying. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, tell me when it's over. And it's like, oh, man. So that was rough. And then the spaceship at the end was a little rough as well. So
Yeah.
the special effects, as much as I love the film,
Mhm.
and at the time, I remember watching it when it came out. And at the time, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted a bike that could fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, rewatching it now through this 2025 lens and how far computer generation has gone and blue screening and green screening.
Yeah.
There are some spots that miss the mark.
And
Yeah.
we should probably mention which edition of the film we watched at this point because
Oh yeah. Because there is a remastered version where he has added.
he's fixed
Stuff.
some of this and corrected it. And like ET is more CGI'd, but the bikes are CGI'd as well. So there
Yes.
are handlebars. We watched the HD restoration of the original.
Yeah.
And like most things from that year, that era don't hold up to an HD.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did watch the remastered one a few years ago, or the one where he fixed stuff up, but he also added stuff. So in the scene where he's being chased, they computer generate a ET that runs through
Yeah,
the woods,
and I don't like that at all.
and kind of goes like a crazy gorilla. It's actually quite freaky.
I don't want to
Yeah.
see that at all.
Because he goes,
Yeah.
and he's going through, and I was like, "Whoa, what's this about?" Whereas when he's a puppet, he's just like, I
It's
gotta
just
go.
like on
He's a
rollerblades.
track. Yeah, and he's just moving
Zooming.
straight through. He's like, but this one is, it's a bit disturbing.
Oh, I don't like that at
Yeah.
all. I'll never watch that ever in my life. All right, thanks for that, Chad. Mike,
problem.
what didn't hold up for you?
A couple of mine we've already said before, but the one I still have is sparks for the sake of sparks. When they're setting up outside the house and they're like, they've got the van and there's just 2 people on top just welding metal and creating sparks.
Oh, I had that. I had that in my hiding in the shadows. I was like, what are they welding?
Yeah. They're assembling this trailer. Yeah,
Right outside?
I know. Yeah,
One of those pieces have been machined in a factory first.
you would think. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I said dressing up as a terrorist for Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not okay. I don't know if you noticed, but when E.T. was just going through the picture book with the letters, he was on the page for D and there was the dog there and it was the scariest looking dog I've ever seen. I was like, that's not a dog. It's
Oh, I
so
didn't see that
scary.
at all.
So I said, I didn't like that at all.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah.
All right, now we're going to move into our most gratuitous scene. Chad, you had none. Mike, what was gratuitous for you?
So I had 2, and the first one was just like a weird kind of irritated me. But when Elliott goes to do the washing up and turns the hot water on in the sink,
The steam.
the amount
Yeah.
of steam is like
Yeah,
instantaneous.
it's excessive. Yeah.
So there was that. And then, I noticed weird things from my gratuitous. The amount that they water the dirt beside their driveway. During the day, they are watering and water is running down the dirt because there's no grass or anything to hold it in. And then later, when they drive out of the driveway in the night or something, they're still watering that patch of dirt. And it was like, this is California. There's a reason why that state has a drought, apparently.
All right, for me, we've already kind of talked about it. The squelching noises, the grunting noises, all the noises that E.T. makes in the first half of the film are very upsetting and over the top. And I thought I'd put it in ear to ear splitting, but I was like, no, it's over the top. Like,
Right.
yeah, just the squelching. Squelching I hated. All right, now we're going to move into terrifying or titillating. Chad, you are the only one who had something for this category. So what was terrifying or titillating for you?
Well, I don't know if it was terrifying, but it was pretty scary. And I just said white E.T. When he's in the bathroom and the mom starts separating everybody.
Yeah.
And it's scary, but it's also, emotionally, like it hits you in the feeling box, like because he's just screaming and holding his arms out, and he just does not look well.
Yeah.
And his scream coupled with the way he looks, I was just like, whoa, man. Like, if you watched that when you were younger, that would seriously kind of mess you up. So I just thought that was more terrifying than any other part in the film.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was kind of scary, just to add in, I just thought of it, was just like the opening, like, or not the opening scene, but in the little shed, like just, you know, the mist and the dark. And I thought that was really scary. And the fact that Elliott went out with a flashlight and slept out there after seeing something in there, like you can just, and when he wakes up and it's just the outline of ET.
And then it walks forward towards him.
And
it kind of shuffles.
Oh, I was like, absolutely.
That was pretty creepy. It was lit very well.
Yeah. It was really well done.
And then as a kid, I was just like, oh yay! Like
I was like, fuck no, get back in the shed, Elliott, get in the house. Where is your mom? Like, why are you sleeping outside? Oh my goodness.
Again, as a kid, I don't remember being freaked out by that, but watching it with Emily, she said, "You wake up to that, and that's what's in your yard." And then it started walking. She's like, "It's going towards him."
Yeah, it's so scary.
Yeah, no, she should have been our guest.
I know, she should have come on.
She should have come on, because she would have been. She would have talked about it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so scary. All right, thanks for that. Now we're going to move into what stood the test of time. Mike, you're going to kick us off with your first two.
My first one, again, I've talked about this, but the wonder that the opening credits and the whole opening just creates. Again, this took me back to the magic. It's just this otherworldliness. Yeah, it just opened my imagination. So I think that's why I just never got bothered by so many other things in the film. And another test of time, I really liked the ball and shed scene.
Oh, yeah.
When he like throws it in and it rolls back out. Yeah. Sort of that mystery of what's inside, the unknown. So
you can just picture too, like E.T. doing an overhand throw would never work. The biggest windmill throw in existence. All right, thanks for those. For me, something that stood the test of time, I loved the scene when Gertie comes rushing into the room for the first time and E.T.'s there and she screams. He screams, and then they cover up her mouth, but then the mom comes up because she wants to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then so Michael has Gertie and they go into the closet and then E.T.'s still screaming and following them and she's still screaming and they just are looking at each other across the closet. I thought it was such a funny scene.
Yeah.
So I loved that one. And then on that same kind of note with the closet, I loved their giant walk-through closet.
Yeah.
That thing was massive.
It was huge. It was a whole room.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So I'm a bit envious of that.
I had that just E.T. running into the closet with his hands up because he's like,
That's very cute. Yeah.
So good. All right, Chad, you had one for this category. What is your?
Well, mine is pretty general, but I think the acting in the film, just as a whole, still really holds up. Like there's not a lot of cheesiness. There's not a lot of overacting. There's not a lot of just things that don't need to be there. So I thought the acting really still holds up. And for the kids.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
To have kids and so many little guys acting, they did such a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
That I just loved it. My favorite scene, though, is the frog when he's like, "Go back to the river!" And he's saving them all, and he's kind of drunk because E.T.'s been drinking the booze. And then he steps on that one kid and kisses her.
Yeah, so good.
And then the little ankle turn when he's getting taken to the... I just thought that whole scene just makes me laugh. I love it so much. So that's my stood the test of time.
So good. Thanks, Chad. Mike, what else did you have?
A testament to this is the garnish on our drink, but Reese's Pieces stood the test of time.
Oh, yeah?
They're delicious.
And then this, I didn't know where to put it because it was a great moment, but it wasn't because of like, oh, I really enjoyed it, but it was just such a well done moment. And it's the awkward pause after Elliott says his dad's in Mexico with Sally.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like it brings that scene down so hard and just the dynamic of Gertie doesn't understand it's uncomfortable. Mike is angry because of the hurt that hit mom with. And Elliott's at that age of he knew it stung, but doesn't understand how much it did. Yeah. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, I would agree. It was very good.
Yeah.
I just liked the sense of family between the characters. Like I know I mentioned that before, but I even love, and I love the dog, but Harvey's around. He's at the end. He's in all the scenes. He's always invited. He goes trick-or-treating.
Says goodbye to E.T.
Yeah.
At
first he's like, rah, 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 but then eventually he's like, I gotta live with this guy. He's part of
he's
us
my
now.
bro. He's
Yeah,
part of the fam. So I kind of liked that wholesome little part. And of course, that led to me crying at the end.
Yes.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay.
Yeah, I got emotional too. So it's
Oh,
okay.
so did I. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
It's
good.
always one that hits you.
Yeah.
Right. And what did you call it? The feelings box?
The feel box.
the feel box. All right. And that's it for me. Mike, you can wrap up this category.
Just a few more. I loved E.T. hiding in the toys.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
it's
that was
like-
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
iconic, right? We've all seen it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I did love E.T. in the dress up as the woman when Gertie's got him.
Yeah.
He's just so happy. Like,
Yeah.
hello, Elliott.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first time Elliott hears him talk too, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I did like the use of silhouette with the sunsets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were very well done.
Yeah.
The
you're right.
And I'd written it when the scientists were like sort of coming up the hill.
Oh,
Right.
And
yeah.
but they used silhouette quite a bit in this. It was very well.
Yeah.
I would agree. All right, now we're going to move into eerie to ear splitting. I'm going to start us off here. I found the music at the end was over the top. And I don't know. I felt it was too loud. I had to turn it down a little bit. It was a bit too much. But overall, I liked the musical score of the film. I thought it was pretty good and fit pretty nicely. Chad, what did you think?
Well, there's the breathing at the beginning is a bit creepy in the shed. Yeah, just it's kind of it's a little off-putting. Yeah. So and then some of his screams and stuff. So the sounds of E.T. and I'd like to know how they did like his sounds. Do you have that in your research?
No.
I have a little bit on it.
But yeah, because some of the things are really kind of freaky. So
Yeah.
I like that. The breathing though at the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of creepy.
The whole, I would say until maybe he starts talking to me, I found really creepy.
Well, he does a good job. This is one of my stood the test of times that I didn't mention is Steven Spielberg does a great job of changing creepy to cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you get to a point where it's just like, this guy, like, what's going on? Don't take him in the house. Like, leave him in the shed. I don't know what you're doing. Like,
outside.
don't touch him. And then, but then you're just like, oh, he's part of the family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by
You
the
get
end,
so invested.
you're really locked in. So he does a fantastic job of, growing that relationship with the kids as well as the audience. So I thought it was well done.
All right, Mike, what was eerie to ear splitting for you?
Mine, and I loved it because, again, this movie was just all returning to the magic of my childhood watching this. But when Elliott and E.T. are on the bike and they drive off the cliff and he dips and then he flies and the music like crescendos into the score motif that everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the Amblin Entertainment logo shot. Yeah. I was just like, again, it just like my heart swelled at that moment.
All right. Now we're going to look at moments that made us say, what the fuck? Chad, you're the only one with something for this category. So what is it?
I didn't ride a lot of buses when I was a kid, but that bus ride seemed insane. Papers going all over the place, crawling all over the seats. I was like, what the fuck is happening back here? It was just out of hand. So I thought it was a little exaggerated.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In the 80s, I lived in a small town. I walked to school, and then when I could drive, I drove. So we didn't have buses that came and picked us up. And so I don't know what it was like in the city, but that just seemed excessive.
The craziest thing that happened on the bus I was on for elementary was somebody threw a textbook out the window. And because I was in the seat behind, I was the one that got in trouble.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But can we agree that
Yes.
that was
I
just
feel
it's excessive.
crazy?
Like nowadays, if you're like following a school bus, it's just kids trying to get you to like honk or they're making faces at you. And every now and then a little kid will like give you the middle finger. And you're like, what did I do?
Little brat, I'm just trying to get home.
That's really funny. All right. Now we're going to look at some of our back it up moments. All right, Mike, what moments made you back it up in this film?
My back it up moment was the drunk E.T. / Elliott sequence.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. He drinks so much beer.
Oh.
Gets so drunk. But I just loved like that parallel between like the TV show that E.T.'s watching with the dancing and the pulling back and the kiss. Yeah, and then the standing on the kid's back to get the kiss of the girl.
Well, they switch, right? Like it's almost Elliott takes on E.T.'s like whole persona because he is drunk at the school.
Yeah.
And then E.T. it seems stone cold sober just watching this stuff and now I'm going to make a phone.
The Corsican brothers like Cheech and Chong.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that though.
All right, thanks for that, Mike. Now we're going to look at what was hiding in the shadows. So these are things or questions or comments that we had while watching. I'm going to start us off. What was the mom's Halloween costume? A leopard fairy? Like what?
Yeah. My daughter had the same question. She's like, what is she?
Sexy
She's got
leopard with a fairy wand.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I think she's a cat. He's like, well, why does she have a wand? And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what her.
Okay,
it was very, very good question.
Yeah. And I don't really understand like the connection between the two. Like I understand they're connected, but I don't really understand why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't
They
really
just are.
explain that.
Alien
They're just-
magic.
Yeah.
Alien magic.
Yeah. It's like Harry Potter.
They magicked.
They magicked. Yeah.
Mike, what was hiding in the shadows for you?
My first one was a question of like, is their house so filthy that they need a can of Raid at the table? So when the kids are playing D&D, they've got all their accoutrement and a can of Raid.
Totally
Like,
missed that.
I missed that as well.
I don't know if that's what the smoke was like. They're trying to like create mist with the Raid can. I'm like, well, they're just breathing poison then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, do not recommend.
And then the other one I had was just when they go out to the shed and Mike goes in and looks all around for ET and he's like, nope, there's nothing here. And then they go back in. ET like pops out from the side. Like, where the fuck was he hiding then?
Right.
I have a comment in my notes. I'm like, they didn't see him.
Yeah.
It's not that small. All right, thanks for those, Mike. I had a couple more here.
I had one. If I
Oh,
could,
sorry.
okay. Mine was, what kind of science are we practicing when we go out to where we think aliens are? We find Reese's Pieces and then we eat them. Like the guy grabbed the Reese's Pieces and then he started to crunch on them. I was like, I don't know if that's accurate. I think you'd be like quarantining stuff. You wouldn't be like, oh, let's see. Oh yeah, it tastes like Reese's Pieces.
They grow naturally in this environment.
Yeah, under this bed of, on top of this bed of leaves.
And then my last one was the pizza's still good and they just left it in the grass. They
Yeah, it just been stepped on.
Yeah.
It's like there's a little bit of cheese on the top. Like you can still eat the pizza.
Yeah.
So
That's
wasteful.
it. That's it.
Thanks for those. I had questions about why there were astronauts in the house. We've already talked about that. Did he call home with a blender? So on his little towel of things, there's a blender on there.
Maybe he needed the circuit board from it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, really?
Or like to spin the gyro. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, he made a phone to phone home a satellite.
That's right.
I said the marching up the street was very dramatic, but I liked it.
Yeah.
And then this is where I said, what is this parade and what structure are they welding? So which we already talked about. And then my last one was I didn't really realize that his head pulsed. It pulsed a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. That's a no from me. So that's it for me. Now we're going to head into our bonus features. Chad, why don't you kick us off with some bonus features? What did you find in your research?
Okay. Steven Spielberg shot most of the film from the eye level of a child to further connect Elliott and E.T.
Awesome.
So that's why a lot of for the longest time, the parents or the adults were shot in a long shot or silhouetted or waist down.
Huh.
So that's why he did that. At one point, Girdle looks down at E.T. and says, I don't like his feet. And this was an ad-libbed line by Drew Barrymore and was actually her referring to the grouping of wires coming out of the E.T. puppet.
Oh.
She also ad-libbed the line, give me a break, after Elliott tells her only little kids can see E.T.
Yeah. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what did you have?
So financial information, the budget was 10.5 million and the box office on just the original release is 359 million.
Holy shit.
Ooh.
If you add in all the other subsequent releases in that, it's over $750 million.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So this thing is just a beast for money.
Wow.
Another one that I found that was interesting was the doctors in the house are actually real doctors because they would be better at them rapidly spitting out all of the jargon and the terminology.
Oh, yeah.
And so this led to a competition amongst local doctors that all wanted to be in the movie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. So, Chad, you had asked about E.T.'s voice and
Yes.
sounds.
Yeah.
So, E.T.'s voice was provided by Pat Welsh, who was an elderly woman who smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, which gave her voice a quality that the sound effects creator really liked. She spent 9.5 hours recording her part and was paid $380 for her services. There were also 16 other people and other animals used to create. These included Bert's sleeping wife who had a cold, a burp from his USC film professor, as well as raccoons, sea otters, and horses.
Huh.
Oh, interesting.
So lots going on there.
But $380, like that's.
And I heard she was also uncredited. Like I think I read that somewhere.
Oh, really? Oh,
man.
I don't like that.
That sucks. What was her name again?
Her name was Pat Walsh. Or Pat Welsh.
Shout out to Pat Welsh
Yeah.
for the work in ET. That's
one of
awesome.
the most iconic voices I would say
know.
in cinema history.
Yeah. Crazy. And then on top of that, so I've already talked about the squelching of ET. To get that sound effect, they used a wet t-shirt crammed with Jell-O to simulate the noise of his waddling walk.
Oh, yuck.
I know. I was like, I don't like that.
These people are geniuses, man. Like, how would you come up with something like that? That's just crazy. I'm going to put Jell-O in a wet towel and see what that sounds like. Let's do it. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Wouldn't it be great to be a Foley artist? So like, let's just see what noise this makes.
Yeah. All day just testing that stuff out. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, it would. Kind of gross, but what can we use this sound for?
Yeah.
It's like this wholesome alien. All right, Chad, did you have some more?
I had one. The movie was the longest ever theatrical run, over a year.
Wow.
Oh, which makes sense with what you kept saying. It was in theaters for a while. So.
Oh, and I just had one more with the Yoda because I love the part where he saw Yoda. And he's like, and then they're like, get back here, and the guy's looking at him. In the Halloween scene where E.T. sees a child in a Yoda costume and seems to recognize him. This is an inside joke by Steven Spielberg on his good friend, Star Wars creator George Lucas. In Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Lucas returns the joke in a scene that takes place in the Galactic Senate. In the shot of the various senators calling out, you can see E.T.'s species among the Senate pods in the lower right corner.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
All right, Mike, what else did you have?
Sales of Reese's Pieces candy skyrocketed by 65% after being included in the film. And in the novelization, it's M&M's because originally it was supposed to be M&M's, but the M&M's company was like, no, being connected to a sci-fi alien film will alienate our audience. So whoopsie-daisy.
Someone got fired over that call.
That's a terrible decision.
Yeah. There was supposed to be a subplot in which E.T. was in love with Elliott's mom, and he goes into her room and leaves a Reese's piece on her pillow. I know. The love thing is like...
All right,
I think it should have been like he just tries to endear himself to her. It would have been great, but a love scene.
Not a love scene. Oh my God.
A love story.
That's a different film.
And then we get really inappropriate.
We made love all night.
Oh God.
The tentacle thing from Possession.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, I think that would have made it even creepier too. Like.
Yeah. I think it had just been like he's trying. Like she doesn't know who I am yet, so I'm just gonna like.
That's creepy. If there was a random.
I think it was good. It was fine. They left it out.
Yeah.
They didn't need to. And she saw him at the end, but then immediately was like, "These kids love him." And stuff. She realized that he wasn't this scary thing, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I did love how quickly she's just like, "This is fine."
Yeah. I know it does seem a bit fast,
I would have been
but
so alarmed. That thing's in my house.
What is that in my house? He's sick. Oh my God!
He fucking is. He's really sick. Ugh.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do one more here, and it's mostly because I felt kind of bad for them, but his face was modeled after a poet named Carl Sandburg, Albert Einstein, and a pug dog.
No.
And I was like, oh, it'd be so sad if they're like, we used your face as a model. I'd be like, ooh, and then you see E.T. and it's like, oh.
It's for E.T. It's like, oh man.
That's gross. I instantly would hate myself. All right, Mike, did you have any others?
Just a couple more. It was filmed in chronological order so the cast could become genuinely attached to the character.
I had read that, yeah.
Young Drew Barrymore in particular took it the hardest. She was genuinely frightened when she walked in on Elliott with E.T. and in tears during his death scene.
Oh.
She actually was auditioning to be in Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And then Steven Spielberg thought she would be better for this role. So so he saved this role for her and didn't cast her in Poltergeist, which I think was the right call.
Yeah.
I thought she did awesome in this.
Oh, she's fantastic. Yeah.
And the girl from Poltergeist was amazing.
Was
too,
amazing for her role. Yeah.
Then when Elliott insulted Michael, it actually didn't have specifically what he was supposed to say, just something insulting. So penis breath was an ad lib.
Oh, that's cool.
The actor. And so Dee Wallace, the mom's reaction was like her genuine
reaction.
Yeah, because she was just cued to like scold him for saying something insulting.
Yeah.
So they used that take in the film.
They said that the boy that played Elliott just crushed his audition. Like he came in there and just did this, and they said, okay, we need you to be sad because we're taking the alien away. And then they showed, I heard a little snippet of it. And then right after he finished his little audition, Steven Spielberg says, great, well, you got the job. No,
Yeah.
like he
Wow.
cast him right there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then international titles, nothing great because a lot of it's just ET.
Right.
A lot of Russian bloc or Soviet Union films just called it Alien, which possibly led to some confusion.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Kazakhstan called it Another World.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the working titles I thought were just interesting. A Boy's Life, and then Night Skies, and then I like this one, just E.T. and Me.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's so cute. All right. Thanks for those, Mike. Now we're going to look at our watchability scale. Mike, where would you put this on our scale?
This isn't a surprise. It's 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've talked about the magic. I've talked about the feeling of it. There's no flaws in this film for me. The CGI, the effects, yeah, but I'm not going to knock it down for being of its,
for
being
being
of its time.
dated because it's of its time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. I don't know. I don't know if I go as far as a 10 on it. I think I'd probably pop it around an 8 for me. I loved it, but I hated it as a kid. It was so creepy. And like obviously maybe not a horror movie for us looking back. So I wouldn't be able to rate it as a horror movie, but I would say it's solid 8. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Chad, what about you?
Oh, I'm in Mike's camp. I'm a 10. I love the film. Watching it again, and especially with my daughter, was just a lot of fun.
Mhm.
She's 15 now, so hearing her take on it as a 15-year-old, and we watched it when she was, I think, the first time when she was maybe 8 or 9. So hearing her take on it was fun. So I just loved it. It's a great family film. I think it's super cute, and it always gets me at the end. So yeah, I loved it. Yep, 10.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much for listening to us. Remember to follow us on Instagram. We are at ScreamStreamPod. Stop by our website, screamsandstreams.com, where we have information about our episodes, descriptions of our categories, links to our research, our watchability scale, and a page where you can recommend movies that you want us to discuss. And please rate, comment on, and subscribe to our show on any of the platforms where you get your podcasts. Until next time, this has been Sam and
Mike?
Chad.
Chad.
Scare you later.